Hello and welcome to another wonderful time again on the desk. On the desk tonight, we'll be looking at the security architecture of Nigeria, looking at the state of the nation and everything happening around. Can we say at this point in time that the security situation is better than it was in January? My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and a special welcome to the desk today. On the desk, I will have my guests join me as we look at the state of the nation and an x-ray of Nigeria's security architecture. So many things happening. Just a few months ago, we heard about the killings in Plateau State. Not just Plateau State. What about Benue State? Not just Benue State. Almost all parts of Nigeria, we have security situations. Apart from that, we've had a lot of stories about kidnap and so many other things happening. But then, can we say the security architecture has improved? Can we say things are better than they used to be as far as security is concerned? And one of the things that has posed threats to the nation, Nigeria especially as a country, is the issue of course, security, the security situation in the north, the northeast, the north central, and even the west. Nowhere in Nigeria you can point to right now and said, well, this place is safe in the country. So as it is, my guests will be joining me as we look at the security architecture. What is the civil defense? What are they doing? Apart from that, what about the military? How are they doing? What can you say about the safety of the people of Nigeria moving from one border to the other? How many people can actually move from one state to the other today smoothly without thinking about the fear of the unknown? When we return from this break, we'll look at that, and we will have a security expert join us on the program this evening. Stay with us after this break. The desk continues. All right, welcome back from that break. It is the desk on Global Television. In case you just tuned in, we are live on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. And we are looking at the state of the nation today and, of course, Nigeria's security architecture. And I have someone who is a security expert join us on the program. He's the director of Security Salute Nigeria Initiative in the person of Salihu Of course, Dantata Mahmood. It's good to have you join us on the program this evening.
Thank you very much, erudite anchor person Ramsin Agbo, my main man.
Thank you for joining us. We're looking at the
Thank you.
security.
The pleasure is mine.
You're welcome. Let's quickly look at the security architecture of Nigeria. What is your assessment of the security situation as at today?
Well, world over, no country is free from insecurity, and Nigeria cannot be an exception. And to the best of my knowledge, I think we are having improvements because for the first time, we are having combined coordination amongst the armed forces, civil security agencies like police, DSS, paramilitary, and host of others, where they are gathering intelligence, sharing intelligence, same way the air component group of the Nigerian Air Force is carrying out onslaughts against armed bandits in Zamfara, Sokoto, Kebbi, Niger, Kwara, and others. Same way the ground forces of the Nigerian Army, DSS, police, and others are doing clearing exercise. And as well, we have had improved community support also, where they have now realized their ownership involvement, where they need to also assist the security agencies with privileged intelligence information. And I can give you examples in Rijau of recent, when Itato, the bandits came on bikes and people were restless. Weeks later, the combined force of the Air Force, Army, and others went and eliminated a lot of them. Then similarly, when they were moving from Zamfara to go and wreak havoc in Zulu, there were 2 on every bike, fully kitted with arms. They were eliminated up to 300. And as I tell you, even within the weekend, a lot of them have been eliminated. Similarly, in Kayama local government area of Kwara State, Baruta local government area of Kwara State, Borgu local government area of Niger State, Aguara, and others, when Mahmuda terrorists as well as Nakura were striking, the moment the intelligence information got there, the combined forces of the Nigerian Army Air Force went on onslaught. Notwithstanding, sometimes the security agencies cannot be everywhere. That is why at this time we also need to, as citizens, to avail them of certain privilege information. We know in Benue, after the visit of the president, it subsided where it has come down. In Plateau, even though we know there was attack in Bokos over the weekend, but the special task force are also on top of it. So above all, I can say the security forces are gathering momentum above before, and their ratio, I can give them 70, because unlike how there used to be lukewarm attitude, now they are proactive in their onslaught against the non-state actors.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. A lot of Nigerians have attributed this security situation to so many reasons. Some persons are of the school of thought that these are foreigners that came into this country to destabilize the political scene or the economy. Some persons are saying, well, it is people who are unemployed, and so many people with different school of thought. As a security expert, what do you think is the root cause of this insecurity situation, the security situation of this country? What do you think is the root cause of it?
Let's take it one by one. Let's start from Borno State, the Boko Haram insurgency before ISWAP and others came to join, was because they had religious ideology where they said education is a sin. And again, it escalated when they killed their leader, Mohammed Yusuf, extrajudicial killing by the police, and Shekau took over before his elimination and death. Then when you come to Zamfara, it is three-way thing. There is the communal clash disagreement between the Fulani and the Hausas of Zamfara State. Then there are those contracted to guard illegal mining sites by some of the locals and some of the illegal miners. Later, when they knew that the trade is fruitful, it has a lot of profits, they now started turning against the people that earlier contracted them. Then there are political involvements and other people where politicians use them for certain things. Then also the sole illegal mining activity. Then when you come to Katsina, it is communal between the Hausas and the Fulani. Then when you come to Sokoto, around the Gobir area of Isa, Sabon Binni, it is because there has been love lost between the Fulani and the Hausas over there. Then when you come to Niger, it is now you can now say those bandits who are fleeing from Zamfara and other northwestern states now found solace in Niger, but they over time were dislodged in the Nupe speaking area. They now remain in Shiroro, Rijawa, other areas, even though the security forces have been carrying onslaught and flushing them. Then when you come to that of Kwara, Mahmuda terrorists in Kayama, Barutin, Borgu local government area, Niger state, the Mahmuda terrorists have come in disguise like preaching, like ulamas. Later they turn against the community using arms and also other things. Then when you now come to other ones that you have like on non-government activities, you know, is the agitation for declaration of Biafra because they said they are followership of Nnamdi Kanu that is under detention and also others. Then other skeletal kidnap related activities. Above all, it is because we have shortage of manpower among the armed forces, police and others. Even though with the expansion of procurement of weapons and arms and what have you, most of these weapons that we are bought, we are not put into use. For example, where is the use of Tucano? It is limited because there are laws that guide it. Then again, who has the responsibility of internal security? The police. Even with the counter-terrorism unit, with the special forces, with the police mobile force, with the IRT, intelligence response team, with the special tactical squad, they are underfunded. A policeman who doesn't even have a barrack to stay, how does he have a kind of happiness to even go and protect people internally? And most of them also are in the hands of the VIPs, even though the IG brought some of them upon, but still a lot needed to be done. They should enhance recruitment into all the cadres, both lower and upper, so that police can take over their responsibility as custodians of internal security. Those ones that Army, Air Force, and Navy are doing is complementing their roles. The internal security role is led by the police, followed by DSS, security and civil defense, immigration, and also others. So above all, we need to restructure the entire security architecture. So far so good. Then also we cannot rule out external collaboration because some foreigners are seen to be involved in giving them arms and what have you. That was why when there was NATFORCE, a task force against proliferation of arms, Mike Kirofoma Haiti was once the chairman, Okereke of Blessed Moments was once the chairman, but that NATFORCE is no longer there because some of the people from NSA office then thought they were like affront to them or to the security agencies, because the essence of setting up NATFORCE then was to, fight against proliferation of arms, because arms are in the hands of non-state actors sometimes, even though we know because of the porous nature of border is also what have you. There were times even at the Tinker Island port where illegal arms from Turkey were detected and they were confiscated. So above all, I think the entire national security architecture needed to be restructured for efficiency. For example, now recruitment into civil defense, immigration, fire and what have you, and correctional service is on. For the immigration of recent, the Controller General came in and held intelligence sharing workshop with sister agencies on Defense Intelligence Agency, TMI, CID, and police, and also for DSS and others, where they said they realized that through the maritime waters, some of these people come in, illegal immigrants. Sometimes some of them are non-state actors, and now they have taken action. The chief of naval staff, Ogala, was in Baga, where he even gave naval boats and also other things. So above all, let this recruitment, immigration also have role at the border so that their arms guard can be enhanced and increased, so that if manpower is increased, they can adequately man the border alongside the customs, border police, army, DSS and others that are in our borders. But for now, as it stands, our borders are porous and a lot needed to be done. Just the way monies are being expanded for the army, air force and navy, same thing should be done to the police. Look at even retirees, they have to protest of recent. Let them be removed from that pension so that those that are serving now in the police will give their best in safeguarding the territorial integrity of the country. And part of the constitutional role of the armed forces is for them. Their primary responsibility is to protect the territorial integrity of this country. The Navy to protect the water, maritime water, sea, then the Air Force airspace. Then when you talk about land, it is the land army.
All right. You've spoken well. But then, looking at the current situation right now, do you think, apart from the ones you've said so far, are there any other ways that this situation can be addressed that has not been done yet? I know the federal government is doing their own bit. The military and the paramilitary are also doing their own bit and all of that. But then, do you think there are other ways, other things that could be done to actually calm down this security situation in the country? additional to the ones you've said?
Well, if you are aware of recent, communities in Zamfara reached out through a cleric to Bello Turji, one of the notorious bandits, and they are having a kind of agreement for him to lay down arms. You are very much aware. The civil society also have roles to play, particularly those at the receiving ends. But beyond that, let there be establishment of permanent MOPO squadrons in prone areas, that of counter-terrorism unit, military cantonments of the Army, Air Force. Because sometimes when you try to enforce, before you get there, the havoc has been done. But we are there to be a permanent establishment of those permanent structures of the security. It won't be that way. It won't be that way. So the issues are, let them establish permanent structures of the police mobile squad, counter-terrorism unit, Army cantonment, Air Force, so that when these things are happening meters away, they will be able to tackle it. Then again, enhancement of intelligence gathering. Once they enhance that, they need to train some of them abroad. It doesn't take anything to start training them in Belarus, in US, or UK, because we are talking about global intelligence. When you learn about that, you come here, you know how to disguise. We know how the CID then disguised the 87 during Babangida administration to arrest notorious armed robber, and any that same step can be done right now. So I think establishment of permanent security apparatus in areas across Nigeria, because appropriation is made for security in the National Assembly annually. Then again, improvement on their welfare. Once their morale is high, once they are getting what they get, build barracks for the police officers, separate their pension from pension administrators, make it like military pension. Once they know that when they retire or give out their life, there's something the family can fall on, they will give in their best. Then again, insurance, hazard, then periodical exchange programs where you can bring experts from outside the country to also give them training. Now, the most terrible issues is most police training schools are nothing to write about, whether police college Kaduna, whether Ikeja or training schools in state, maybe police mobile training school in Ila or Osun State or Goza in Borno State and what have you. They need to build more schools to train counter-terrorism officers of the police, the special forces as well as the police mobile force. Then for the military, they are doing their best, but theirs too needed to be improved. They should also look into their packages. Then trainings also should be enhanced. Then also, most of these gadgets like drones, Tucano, Air Force fighter jets and whatever, let them be undergoing international trainings on how to operate them. You know, these were some of the things that caused the mistake they made.
All right, that is the security expert making some very, very vital connections right there. Hello, are you there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. There is this situation that a lot of Nigerians are not very clear about, but there have been videos in the past on social media where you hear things like the terrorists, all right, have more weapons or more sophisticated weapons than the military, which you see on social media, you see some military personnel making such assertions and all of that. Now, that takes us to sponsorship of these terrorists and bandits in Nigeria. We've had in the past the issue of negotiation, all right? Then you talk about the issue of sponsorship. What is your thought concerning sponsorship of these notorious criminals? I call them criminals and terrorists. And then, of course, the sponsors.
Well, I disagree with the exaggeration that they have sophisticated weapons than the armed forces, police, and other security agencies. It is not true. That is just like a beer parlor or T-junction discussion. For anyone that knows security, if you go to air weapons school, I already mentioned, you know the kind of procured arms that are there. Then again, you cannot compare our well-trained regular combatant officers of the Army, Navy, Air Force that get personnel parade from NDA annually with these non-state actors that are trained only 3 weeks by even maybe some dismissed officers of any of the security agencies or some of their international sponsors and also other things. So the strategy, the skills, the weapons, I will rule that out. I cannot say there are no external and internal sponsors. The government has said they are going to mention them. They refuse to mention them. There are internal collaborators who come from abroad through porous borders to also give them arms. And most of these, they are training, they are half-baked trainings. The drills that goes in NDA, police academy, you can't compare with those there. So it's just exaggeration. You know, somebody that is your enemy can say something to how can you compare our own regular combatant officers of Army, Navy, Air Force, or commissioned officers of police academy with these roadside Bello Turji and Dogo Gide, Lakura, and also other things, people that don't even have skills, they don't undergo yearly training. You see, how they do is they go to isolated communities where they know the security apparatus are weak. Maybe there are some places where there is not even police outpost. That's where they carry out their onslaught. The issue is that they are cowards and they remain cowards, because if you really want to fight, why don't you come and do face to face? Even though I know sometimes they invaded barracks in Borno and other areas, but I can give you an example of Kanji. There is 101 battalion air weapon. At the time they got intelligence information, they barricaded the road. At the time they will come, the non-state actors, these people were prepared. So our own military and they gave it to them and even confiscated some of the things. So intelligence is very key. Once you have an intelligence report, all you need to do, you put your house in order. So most periodical ambushes, most of these things you do, sometimes they do it with internal collaborators that are unscrupulous and undesirable elements among the armed forces, police and others who can sell their mother even for $1. Sometimes they've arrested some people with arms in Borno who are going to supply them. So internal collaboration within the armed forces with some of them also, and those ones mostly is among the lower rank, and that is why I'm saying let there be improved welfare. Because we are there welfare to be up to date, this wouldn't happen and also above all, it is now time to restructure the entire security apparatus for efficiency. Godfatherism and favoritism is also killing the job. You see those trained that get medals from NDA Police Academy, they would rather train, take them to Villa, take them to VIPs and also other things in the Army, Naval, and Air Force headquarters, which ought not to be. Those best corps that you sponsor abroad, sometimes use them at battlefield so that they can achieve results.
All right. You said something very vital, and that is intelligence, because intelligence, intelligent information, have a whole lot of role to play. Like there have been times where we hear things like there are leakages of information and all of that. But then, what do you think? What's your assessment of the intelligence capacity of our security operatives in Nigeria? And that brings in the role of the vigilante and collaboration with our military by the vigilante. I think that also will have a role to play as it has to do with intelligent information. What do you think, and what's your assessment of that?
Well, our intelligence network among the armed forces, police, GSS, and others is sophisticated. You know, there are certain internal intelligence information you cannot give out. But of recent, that led to the success of the air component group of Operation Fansanyama, the elimination of more than 300 fleeing non-state actors that were moving to Zuru to wreak havoc. That also led to the success in Rijau. That led to the success in Kwara, towns of Kayama, Baruten, and Borgu local government area of Niger, and other areas. Sometimes there are failures, but I can say of recent, there has been that coordination and improvement, because DSS gathered credible intelligence through their hybrid. There is a hybrid they have in Rijau and what have you, and they succeeded. So far there has been 80% intelligence gathering and sharing among them, armed forces intelligence. And don't forget, Army has the Director of Military Intelligence, Navy has Director of Naval Intelligence, Air Force has Director air intelligence, police have force CIDs, and the DSS are there, and all of other paramilitary like immigration orders, they also have their intelligence. Don't forget in Babana of recent, the Controller General of Customs raised issues of presence of bandits, and he gave it to the army, and they went and carried out onslaught. So the issues I'm saying, we also as the civil populace, we need to come and support them. Of recent, we had audience with the Chief of Plans and Policy at the Defense Headquarters, the instance of Chief of Defense, where we said their door is open for civil populace to bring ideas that can also help the armed forces in order to get certain, which is good. So they've been doing that. They mustn't come and tell us what they are doing. But the society also, provided it's credible, it's genuine, the door is open there. You can seek for that and give that, because you are also helping the society. And to the best of my knowledge, the coordinated onslaught is as a result of intelligence gathered, and it is gathering momentum, and we as civil population will continue to support the armed forces, police, DSS, and other security agencies.
All right. Let's talk about the economy right now, because we're looking at the state of the nation. In your own view, how do you think this has affected the economy? Because, most times when things happen, people attribute it to different things. But the security situation of the country, how do you think it has affected the economy, in your own thoughts?
Particularly in the northern states, it has seriously affected, because no investor is going to come to an area when there is insecurity. And with insecurity, businesses cannot boom, economy cannot boom, there can be internally generated revenue, even cattle business, farming, sales cannot happen. Right now, in many communities of Zamfara, Kazena, Sokoto, Kebi, Niger, Kwara, Borno, Yobe, Adama, farming activities are not taking place. Economic activities are not taking place. Today, from Lagos, if a vehicle is to load products from Oyinbo, Mazamaza, Bega, or Jota, or anywhere to any part of northeast, northwest, or north central, they are very, very afraid, because it is either they are afraid of kidnapping or activities of armed bandits or whatever. We've had cases, situation where whole vehicles containing products to be shared were hijacked by these non-state actors. It has affected agriculture, economy of many northern states. Outside Kano State today, I can tell you, no northern states economy or commercial activities is booming, because you vividly recall at the time they wanted to come to Kano, Falgore Forest, Governor Rabi Musa Kwankwaso then later his predecessor also did a lot to stop it. So in most northern states, insecurity affected economy, affected businesses of people got displaced, their incomes were stopped, and even agriculture. So until successes are completely achieved, I can tell you, if you look at Southwestern State, they have Amoteku. They are not facing these issues. The economy is booming in Ogun State, Ondo, Osun, Lagos, and Ekiti. But when you go to Southeastern State of Imo, where there is activities of non-government, Ebonyi, Anambra, Enugu, and others, it has also reduced, because these days they say stay at home Mondays also affected their economy, even though the security agencies also tried. And like I say, in the whole, without security, there can be boosting of economy, there can be farming, there can be other boosting of activities.
All right. We are in a technological world right now. And the role of tech. As it is right now, how can security agencies improve their coordination and collaboration, and of course the role that tech can actually play in enhancing Nigeria's security situation? What do you think are the roles?
Well, from Buhari administration to this administration, they've procured drones, other intelligence gathering gadgets that I will not mention to you. So the DSS can tell you they have monitoring room. Air Force Intelligence Coordination Department also has it. The Army has it. Defense Headquarters has it. Navy has it. Police has it, and all of them. But above all, what they need to do, it is not having them in urban centers. What happens to wards, local governments, and some of these localities where these non-state actors carry out their nefarious activities? It is high time they put surveillance cameras, they dispatch drones for 8 hours, and also other things. Nothing stops them from installing gadgets that can monitor 2-3 hours distance in localities like Shinkapi, localities like Kankara, localities like Kaama, localities like Taberu, localities like Zongeru, Rijau, Shiroro, Inugu, and other areas across where they are prone to this insecurity and also other things. Technology is key to intelligence gathering. Technology is key to fighting insecurity. So if the Senate Committees on Appropriation, House Committee on Appropriation enhance and increase, appropriate budget for these armed forces, police, and others to get more technology. It's not going to be by operational vehicles. Above all, even if you have this technology without improved welfare, it cannot gather momentum because it is humans that operate those technologies, build barracks, defeating barracks, give attractive hazard insurance, and also other things to be all encompassing, training inclusive also.
Oh, all right. You know, when you were mentioning the issue of banditry in the north, you mentioned Sokoto, you mentioned Niger for some places. You said it's for mining issue for some places. You said it's because they said education was a crime and all of that, and that brought insecurity. Let's go to Benue State. Just this afternoon, we hear of another strike in Benue State apart from the Yelwata. The Yelwata massacre was one of the biggest so far as far as security situation or attacks in Nigeria, especially at the North Central, is concerned. I didn't hear you say anything about how it came about in Benue State because there were accusations, not proven. There were allegations from different quarters. Some persons said it is political. Some persons said it is between maybe some set of persons, and that massacre happened. What do you think about these constant attacks in places like Benue and Plateau State?
The Fulani and the indigenous people of Benue and Plateau have lived together. But this settler indigens, the economy created a lot of problems. I can tell you without any iota of regret that that massacre in Yelwata was aided and abetted by some of the indigenous. It was even made clear where some chief people of Yelwata accommodated, fed even the X-Men that attacked them. So the issues are, when you bring issue of people who have lived together and disagreement not come and not solved, politicians seize that advantage. I can tell you, it's a title called Zegemole Chief, that is one of the chief. The former Secretary to Government of the Federation under Babangida, late Aliu Mame Waziri Njama, was the Zegemole Chief, given by Sir Alfred Tokula, the Dentor Chief. That's to tell you how the Fulani have had a relationship with the chief people of Benue as well as Doma Agato. Similarly, the present Zegemole Chief is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Are you with me?
Yes,
so
I am.
All these things that you are seeing in Benue and Plateau, it is people who have lived together before. I cannot rule out that some external mercenaries did not also contribute, but some of the people who gave them the shelter from where they strategized out to carry out the massacre were some of the chief people of those areas. The chief of defense staff said it. Police made arrests. Some of the arrested people were even thieves. There was a woman who said the husband brought petrol at home. He said, "What, you don't have car, what are you doing with petrol?" It was after the massacre she got to know they used it to burn houses. So it is when they come together. I know the National Security Advisor's Office had advised, had organized one workshop where Mieti Allah, chief people, and His Excellency the Governor of Benue Alia were all there. But what did the governor say? They cannot sit down and agree with the attackers. But at the end of the day, even though they are Fulani, some that were arrested and aided and better were thieves, thievy people. So what do you do about that? So this indigenous settler dichotomy created problem. Before 2002, was there crisis in Plateau? No. It started during Joshua Dare, the democratic experiment. We had in Plateau governors that were Aliu Kana, Kama, Muhammadu Mana. Some Muslims became governors of the Benue State. Aminu Kontegora Colonel Abacha Abdulsalam was governor in Benue State. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So politicians created this artificial love lost, even though I cannot rule out external mercenaries imported also, but it was aided and abetted by indigenous in Benue over there.
All right. Thank you very much, Comrade. We will go on a quick break. After this break, we'll return. And of course, we'll look at other areas as far as security situation in Nigeria is concerned. Most of the things that have been affected by this security situation is the people. We will also get to know if the people at the top are also being affected by the security situation as it has to do with governance. After the break, we'll look at all these issues. We'll return for the rest of the desk after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back from that break. It is still the desk, and on the desk today, we're looking at the state of the nation and, of course, Nigeria's security architecture. And we have a security expert talking to us on the program this evening. Saliu Dantata Mahmood is the one we have on the program. Many thanks for staying with us on the program. Now,
thank you very much.
All right. Before we went on the break, we're talking about the fact whether or not this security situation affects people in governance, or is it just the average Nigerians alone that are being affected by the security situation?
It is affecting all. Don't forget, before they tackled incessant kidnap Abuja Kaduna Road, you know, there were personalities that lost their life on that way, including a governorship aspirant in Zamfara State, Sagir, who was once director of protocol in FCDA. So a lot of personalities who are supposed to travel by road to Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, Niger, Borno, they no longer do it. They now use flight. So if you are now traveling with 10 people, one-way flight ticket, you know how much it costs. So it is something that affected a lot of people. There are very important personalities who cannot access their villages. So in a way, it is not for the lower people alone. There were even some of the personalities whose houses were raised in their communities by these non-state actors. So everybody, whether government functionary, business mogul, they are facing it, particularly from northern part of Nigeria.
Do you think state police is going to help in this security situation? Because some persons are saying it is a good idea. Remember the constitutional review, a lot of people are proposing state police. And in connection with the security situation of the country, what is your thought as far as state policing is concerned in Nigeria in connection with the security situation that we have in the country?
Let me tell you, state police, we are not ripe for it in Nigeria. The governors will hijack it. And the questions I will ask is, we already have some state existing fire service as well as vehicle inspection offices. Have the governors been able to adequately fund them? When you are establishing state police, will you have the fund for their training schools, uniforms, arms, and others? So it is a very, very expensive gesture. You don't just say it theoretically. So the issues are, if state police is meant to be the alternative, how come the governors are not assisting vigilantes that are complementing their efforts? So the issue are, we have been unable to take care of the existing federal police. So if we are unable to take care of the existing federal police, where will the governors get funds to create police colleges, training schools? Are you with me? Buy AK-47? Are you with me? Patrol vehicles, barracks. Governors that even before they paid their wages for civil servants had to battle. Is it the same governors that will be able to build training school for the state police, buy uniform, procure arms, logistics, train them, build cantonments? These are the questions we should have. So state governments in Nigeria don't have the capability to establish effective state police. Even though I know President Bola Tinubu somehow seems to be in support, but I don't think the governors we have today have the capability and resources to do that. And you cannot run state police through public-private partnership. So let us maintain the existing federal police we have. Who are their orderlies? Who are their ADCs? Who are their escorts? Is it not the same police officers? So it means already if they are enjoying the federal police, let them be complementing efforts. Lagos State normally assists the police and other security agencies. So police in states, establishing state police is not the alternative now. Forest guards, let them be assisted. Governors can raise funds, assist them. They know the terrain in the forest. They can also assist even the armed forces. So state police is even an issue that is like understatement to me.
But looking at this security situation, is there any way you think Nigeria can leverage on international relations to handle this situation? Is there any way? Is it possible?
We've been having it. UK of recent came to train some police officers on intelligence gathering and combat operations. Same way we've been having collaboration in the armed forces with some of the international military bodies. It has been happening. So the issues are, we have our sovereignty. There are limitations. During Obasanjo, what led to Chief of Army Staff of blessed memory then, General Victor Malu, to retire was because Obasanjo was bringing American army to establish African Command in Nigeria. That was what angered Victor Malu, and he had to go. So the issue of saying there are limitations, but we've been having that cooperation. Even when look at like international police, Interpol, they've been gathering intelligence also. Like I told you, it is not everything that has to do with security that we must let everybody know. It's something that both the external and internal players, and again, United Nations Development Program, not too long, in Katsina State, organized the Northwest Governors Security Workshop, where governors from Northwestern State there, they all both deliberated on kinetic and non-kinetic approach to ending insecurity. So that is to tell you there has been international support even up to United Nations level.
How much belief do you have in unofficial security operatives like the vigilante? You made mention of Amotekun, which is beyond just an ordinary vigilante right now. So what do you think, can be done to enforce this, to empower, I beg your pardon, these security operatives at the grassroots? Because some persons will tell you, well, these people, if they are being empowered, it will result to something else because some persons are of the opinion that the kidnapping that we have been having in these countries as a result of the fact that arms mistakenly enter some wrong hands and all of that. So what do you think of the local security operatives like the vigilante?
They've been having support, because I can vividly tell you right now, in most northern states, they are what we call Ensakai, a vigilante. They move alongside with our security agencies, and sometimes single-handedly carry out operations against the non-state actors. Then if you go to even the southeast too, it is there. Others in local governments, vigilantes are supported by the chairman of the local government. Are you with me? But above all, private sector also need to play a role. What happens to corporate social responsibility from Dangote, Bua Group, Xenon Oil, Globalcom, MTN, Julius Baja, and other companies in Nigeria? Local governments have been playing a role, state government have been playing a role, let the private sector also. For example, Dangote has Obajana, what have you, is part of the north. There has been kidnapping in that area. Nothing stops him from supporting the vigilante in those areas. So local governments have been doing that. A lot needed to be increased also.
Now, we've had in the past where you hear things like these are repentant terrorists and all of that. And just recently, there was a story, a news in the media, all right, about a kingpin of the terrorists who they said surrendered arm and all of that. What do you think of issues like that, the issue of repentant terrorists incorporating into the society and all of that? Can they genuinely, is it possible for them to genuinely hand over and surrender their arms and not go back again? And what's your thought about it?
Well, in Kaduna State, Ubasani as governor did it in Bindingwari. It has restored security and sanity. Are you with me? But in Borno State, the repentant Boko Haram, a lot of them went back to it and gave privileged information. Then now Bello Turji, even though the governments of Sokoto, Zamfara and Kazana said they are not in support of any negotiation with the non-state actors, that they support the onslaught and they are going to do everything to eliminate them at once. It has dangers because sometimes when you do it at the time, you don't meet up their demands, they go back to it. So the best way and the best remedy is to establish standard security structures in those crises or insurgent prone areas, like I told you. It doesn't take the when of a robbery happened. They set up Mopol squadron in Ofa. Today, you've not heard of that robbery in that area again. It doesn't stop the Senate committees to appropriate monies for establishment and setting up of military cantonments, Air Force base, as well as Mopol squadrons to tackle. It's no, when Boko Haram would have behaved, they set up theater commands as well as 7 Battalion in Maiduguri and joint task forces there. Other areas can also benefit from same. So I am not in support of negotiation with terrorists because sometimes when you renege in what they want, they can change the other way.
But then one amazing thing is the fact that we always hear of naming people who are sponsors, because there is a saying that a problem known is a problem half solved. Now, why have we not been able to see the people who were allegedly called sponsored? And of course, we've had situations like you made mention of the illegal mining and all of that. Are there no people behind this illegal mining?
Well, there are people cut across retired top echelons, politicians and others involved in it. But you know, the issues are political will is lacking. During Jonathan, they said they're gonna name them. We didn't hear it. Under Buhari, we only saw some Buru, the change operators. But the heavyweights are still unforeseen and unseen. You see, we have to do what is done across the world. No matter how highly placed, whether retired general, retired AIG. Let me even give you an example. A former IG was appointed as chairman of Committee of Investigation of Banditry in Zamfara State. That is former IG Abubakar Mohammed Diko. At the time he submitted the report to the then governor, Bello Mutawale, who is to the Minister of State, he didn't have the light of day. Don't be surprised, maybe he saw names of some heavyweights that are above him. So people are afraid, they don't want to lose the positions of authority before them. So it is when we have a blunt President and Commander-in-Chief, National Security Advisor that can be achieved. But as it stands now, it is very, very difficult.
So I don't know. Are there some security tips? We're talking about security situation now, and we're looking at terrorists and, of course, the bandits and all of that. This one chance situation, the people who do this one chance thing, they are also growing. I don't know if, as a security expert, if there are some security tips that you can give to Nigerians, because as it is right now, people can't go to farm in some areas, and in some areas they can go to farm. Are there security tips, some things that the average Nigerians can do in times of danger as it has to do with security situations?
Well, with due respect to FCT Commissioner of Police CP Ajao, even I think 2 days ago, his sting operation succeeded in arresting numbers of one chance operators where they give clue how they do it. And the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, in his wisdom, has said is going to partner public-private partnership, the private sector, to bring BRT buses. If there are routes where people can board, collect ticket, you cannot be robbed in those BRT buses. One chance cannot happen there. So the best of my knowledge, the anti-one chance of FCT Police Command are be open. But beyond that, let people stop boarding vehicles at isolated places. Then let them not be in a hurry. Sometimes you see this vehicle and say, one chance, one chance. Make sure you board vehicle from where there are agents of NURTW, SECDA, as well as others who RTAN, who you see the time passengers start acting from one to the fill up. Sometimes boarding by roadside or maybe isolated leads to all that, where we are always in a hurry. These are some of the tips we need to know, because sometimes if you go to isolated places and board, then you watch a vehicle that doesn't have plate number, unpainted, even though it's not all of the unpainted that does that havoc. The advice is that make sure you board where you find people. The admirals are saying here, beggar area one, not just isolated places, and not the vehicle that will say remaining one. So these are some of the best. To the best of my knowledge, the FCT Police Command and other police commands across the country are putting in their best.
All right. Thank you very much for your time with us on the desk this evening. This is a very wonderful time we've had so far, and we hope to have you on the program some other time again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. This is going to be the size of the conversation. We've been able to look at some of the issues in our security sector. And as a matter of fact, we'd like you also to know that, as a matter of fact, so many things are happening that a lot of Nigerians don't know. But then it will be okay for you to be security conscious wherever you go. And if you hear something, if you see something, say something. And as a matter of fact, more needs to be done. More officers need to be recruited, and more hands need to be on deck as far as security situation in the country is concerned. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for joining us on the desk tonight. Bye-bye for now.